Hello, my little duckies, and welcome to the Pop Culture Show. With me, well, I'm pointing to someone who's not next to me, but joining me from Florida, Marco Viteri. Say hi, Marco.
Hi, Marco.
All right, Marco, tell the beautiful people what movie we're discussing today.
Well, we're going to discuss a movie that is could quite possibly rival Citizen Kane in its grandness, and we're talking about X-Men Apocalypse. And if you can't tell that I'm being sarcastic, I am.
All right, so before we start with the actual questions and our thoughts, let me warn everyone there will be spoilers. And for people who don't know, here's the synopsis to what X-Men Apocalypse was. It's a movie where people stood around for 2 hours talking about shit. Talking about doing shit, talking about shit they've done, and talking about shit they're gonna do. And that's pretty much what this movie was. Alright, Marco. Now, not every movie is bad. Can you tell me, were there any good things in this movie that you liked?
There are plenty of good movies, good parts of the movie. Number one, all the characters are really like it's a really cool to see all the different comic book characters come to life, and you get to see Cyclops and Storm and Jean Grey and Nightcrawler, and that's all good and well. But uh, let's see. And obviously the Quicksilver character came back from the last movie, from Days of Future Past. That was just like Days of Future Past. The Quicksilver scene is the saving grace of this movie, in my opinion. If you want to just YouTube that one clip of the Quicksilver scene, and then it's amazing. It's really cool. They did so much with portraying super speed, much better than they ever did, even on the Flash show, which I like. But the Flash show has obviously story and character development, all those stupid things that
It also has budgetary limitations, so it's a TV show, not a major motion.
But it makes
picture.
up for it with a good story and good characters. So who cares?
Anything else you liked?
Yeah, and there's one scene towards the end where you see the Weapon X project, which is obviously as everyone knows is Wolverine, and you see basically Wolverine having been experimented on, and he goes berserk and kills a bunch of people. But it doesn't really add to the story.
No.
At all.
Well,
it was just fan service, basically. It's like, oh, cool, cameo. It's like basically a cooler version of Stan Lee.
Yeah.
In X-Men Apocalypse.
Hey, I'm sorry, there's no cooler version of Stan Lee. Now, I think we both pretty much had the same goods. For me, I like the camaraderie between the young mutants. Jubilee, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler. Like the scene where they go to the mall, it's very reminiscent of, I don't know if you ever saw X-Men Evolution. It was animated series that came out.
That was a pretty cool show, yeah. Came out right after the first X-Men movie.
Yeah, and in that series, they're actually young and in high school. And that's what that scene reminded me of that show. And I was like, wow, if this movie was just about these four young mutants, becoming X-Men now that Professor X is gone, I think I would have loved the movie. The Weapon X scene, even though we've seen this Weapon X scene 4 different times in the past 14 years, and each time it's different, I felt this one was definitely a lot closer to the comic books, especially with like the headgear and everything. I really enjoyed that. And one thing I really liked was the costumes. I feel the costumes were better in this film, except for Apocalypse, but everyone else's look was really good. And I think Olivia Munn, we really have to thank for that, because we all know Bryan Singer has a black leather fetish, and she was she fought against being put in black leather and really wanted to look like Psylocke. And I think that just kind of forced everyone to to try to stick with the comic book costumes. Like you see it at the end, even Mystique's costume is more reminiscent of the comic book costumes. Not at the last fight scene, but the end of the movie itself. So I think, besides that, I really didn't see any other positives, which brings us to our next point. And this movie has a whole lot of bad. First and foremost, the one thing that's been bothering me since the First Class movie is Jennifer Lawrence. I am tired of seeing Jennifer Lawrence because her star power has destroyed one of the greatest comic book villains in the X-Men lore, and a female villain at that. And we don't get many strong female villains, but we have Mystique, and now because Jennifer Lawrence is Jennifer Lawrence, she's a reluctant hero. And you bring up the Wolverine cameo. Well, originally the Wolverine's cameo, when it was written for this movie, he was supposed to be the guy that brings the young kids together. He was supposed to be the drill sergeant, the general. And they felt, oh, it's too similar to Jennifer Lawrence's role. Which kind of makes me think, don't make it Jennifer Lawrence's role. That's not Mystique. Mystique doesn't bring good mutants together. That's not, this whole thing with her and Xavier being childhood friends has been bothering me for years now. Like, it annoys me, and especially with her refusal to put on the blue makeup. The movie was basically mutants standing around for 2 hours, where even the final fight scene was mutants standing around, moving shit with their minds, and their hands outstretched. Psylocke and Archangel are two of the most popular X-Men characters. You know, they're not on the level of like Gambit or Wolverine, but they have a strong fan base. And you finally get them in a movie, and I know we had Angel in X-Men 3, but we don't count that. We don't count X-Men 3 at all.
No, that was just a guy who had the powers of a pigeon. What does he do? He flies around and takes shits on people. That's all he can do. He's fucking worthless. Take shits on cars.
And as a matter of fact, I think Angel fucking dies in this movie. He's in the plane as it crashes down. I didn't see him jump out.
Yeah, I like the only guy, one of the only guys who can fly, and he dies inside of a fucking airplane.
A fucking Psylocke gets out of the plane. She jumps out of a plane. It's like, oh shit, I could probably fly out this smashed up window. Never mind. But X-Men, the X-Men movies have a problem with this. They have a history with this. They like to shoehorn these popular characters that people love, that people want to see these characters. They did it with Gambit in the Wolverine movies. They did it with Bishop in the last movie. They put in these interesting characters that people love and give them no screen time, no story development, and gets rid of them within 5 minutes. It's simply just cameos. And that's what this was. These were just cameos. And the final thing I didn't like was Apocalypse, the villain himself.
Apocalypse is my. I mean, everything else is basically just an innocuous side effect of Apocalypse being that bad. It's almost forgivable, but Apocalypse, the villain, the most badass, arguably the most badass mutant of them all, and he looks like a Power Rangers villain. He looks like Ivan Ooze, right? That's the Power Rangers guy?
He does. But even Ivan Ooze was more interesting. And Ivan Ooze actually put up a fight in that Power Rangers movie until he got kneed in the nuts by the Megazord. He really did get kneed in the nuts, people. You can look it up. You can probably find the video on YouTube.
He wasn't threatening enough. He was just kind of like this like cool, sly guy in the background who just manipulated people to do his bidding.
He wasn't even a cool guy.
No, but what I'm saying is like he wasn't even like a really menacing guy. He was just very like, oh, I'm gonna just imbue everyone with powers and they just do my bidding. And I'll just sit back just going. It's very. He was supposed to be very imposing, almost like godlike, and it wasn't godlike at all. Not. You're like, oh, this is some really really powerful guy, but he's just a guy. I'm not really afraid of him. I'm just like, I just feel sorry for him. Like, there's no motivation behind that character. They never show his motivation. It's just, I just want to rule the world.
That's the problem with me. Apocalypse is he's one of my favorite Marvel villains. He's my
Sure.
top 5 favorite Marvel villain. You know, right behind Magneto. Pretty much he's second. You know, it'd be like Magneto, Apocalypse, Venom, and the other two are usually Doctor Octopus and the fifth would be Doctor Doom. And so I'm really excited because I've seen a few of those villains played in live action. And so far, only Magneto and Doctor Octopus have been played really well, and the rest have been shit. So I'm hoping, like, okay, you know, so far it's been 50-50. I want this villain to be good. And you cast Oscar Isaac, who is like 5'3". So already you're like, okay. But they did a good job of making him look like he was at least 5'10", you know? And the whole movie is just Apocalypse played your old grandfather. That's what he did. He slowly walked around talking shit about how things were better in his day and everything should go back to the way it was when he was alive, when he was young.
Back
That's
in
what he
my
was in this
day,
one.
we didn't have these shenanigans.
Back in my day, mutants were gods. That's pretty much what this movie was. It was Grandpa Apocalypse. And then he went out like a bitch. He went out like a bitch. He didn't even try. He did not even try to fight back. And actually, I don't know. I think I read this somewhere. I either read this in a review or saw it in a review. But someone did bring up the point. If Apocalypse's whole shtick is finding powerful mutants, immobilizing them, and then taking over their bodies so they can absorb their power, why wouldn't he be trying to capture Jean? At this point, Apocalypse realizes, wow, Jean is super powerful. I should probably try to fight her. Instead, he just runs away, gives up, and tells himself, well, I've seen the end. I'm done. Goodbye, everyone. That's Apocalypse. What
Whoops.
the fuck was that?
I picked the wrong. I picked the wrong mutant. I should have picked the girl.
That literally was the worst fucking villain I've seen in an X-Men movie.
I mean, he's
And
probably
there's-
as bad as Doctor Doom from that first run of Fantastic Four movies.
No. At least that Doctor Doom had purpose. At least he fought, and he wasn't a bitch.
I guess
He
so,
was,
but
you know,
I just
He's-
even if he died like a bitch or whatever, that's fine. I mean, that's not my pet peeve. Is my thing with him is that he just there was no motivation behind it. It never showed his origin. Never showed why he wants to rule the world. It just shows him, oh, because I'm strong. That's it. That's your motivation. Because everyone else is weak. That's a very
Yeah, 'cause
lame
the comp-
motivation to me.
in the comic book, I mean, because in the comic book, Apocalypse's history is, you know, only the stronger survive. That's his motto.
That's fine, but they never
But, you
showed
know,
that. They never showed his.
No, they never.
His, his
they never
rise
showed
to
why
power.
he was like that.
They never showed why he has to dominate the weak, and they never showed
Yeah.
any of that stuff. It just is like, oh,
No,
he was already on top when they.
this is our 9th movie in the X-Men film universe. Where does this movie stand to you?
I'd say it's second to last.
Really?
Yeah,
Against what would be last?
X-Men Origins Wolverine is last.
Oh, I actually love that one.
I mean, a lot of that had more fun parts. Like, it had more cool parts. But that
Liev
is
Schreiber.
so hard. It's rough.
I think Liev Schreiber was amazing in that movie.
Yeah, he's a good citizen. And the whole part of the game, mercenaries and all that stuff, that was cool. That movie fight with Deadpool.
I know what you're talking about. I didn't see Deadpool in that movie at all. Didn't see that at all. I don't know what you're talking about. What Deadpool?
Oh no, sorry. That wasn't Deadpool. That was
Weapon.
some guy
that was
called
Weapon.
Blade.
That was Weapon 11. That was Weapon 11. That's what that was. It wasn't
That was-
Deadpool. It was Weapon
That's
11.
right. Weapon X Form.
Yeah, that's right. Not once did they call him Deadpool. So
That was
it was not Deadpool.
No, it was Deadpool. All right, so Mike, how would you? I mean, are you happy with the X-Men franchise as a whole? What would you do differently if not? Or what was good overall? What is bad? I mean, what are your thoughts?
When the first X-Men movie came out, I was really excited. I wanted to see my favorite mutants on screen for the first time. And, well, second favorite. Ninja Turtles are my favorite mutants. But these guys are up there. And the first X-Men movie, it wasn't great. It wasn't a masterful work of art, but it was good. It was good enough to excite you. The costumes were horrible, but I think that movie was perfectly cast. And then everyone's obsessed with X-Men 2, and I actually hated it. I felt X-Men 2 was a wasteful opportunity because everyone's like, yeah, that's the best movie, and I'm thinking, so Magneto and Professor X are putting their differences aside and joining forces to fight an evil and a power even greater than both of them, and that power is a 65-year-old army guy with no mutant abilities. That was a waste of a film in my eyes. That really bothered me that's everyone's favorite. In all honesty, what I would have done, I would have done the first X-Men film, but instead of focusing solely on Wolverine, I would have put more focus on Professor X and Magneto. Because honestly, that is the meat that drives these movies. You see it now with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. Those two characters drive these movies. X-Men 2 would have been a Sentinel movie that's what I would have done. I would have done X-Men 1 is where the mutants get exposed. X-Men 2 would have been a real Sentinel movie. Not that shit that we just had. Like a real Sentinel movie. Like Sentinels, the movie would start with Sentinels attacking and capturing mutants. I probably would put Magneto in just a cameo role, not a main role. X-Men 3, I would have done an Apocalypse movie, and that would have to force Magneto to come back and join forces because Apocalypse would just be too powerful. Not make Magneto a horseman, give Apocalypse his regular horseman. Archangel, Pestilence, Strife, War, whatever, Death, and have Magneto and the Brotherhood join up with the X-Men, and they have to battle this ultimate powerful being. That would have been X-Men 3. X-Men 4, I probably would have done, the Phoenix Saga with the Hellfire Club. I may have not done the space thing because I think that's a little too much for a 2-hour movie. But I would have kept the Phoenix inside Jean and had that come out slowly throughout the previous movies until that 4th movie. And in between those movies, make some solo films for Cable, for Wolverine, for Gambit, more of the popular X-Men. And that's what I would have done with the franchise.
No, I agree. X-Men Apocalypse is it's down there, man. It's really it has all of the ingredients. It has all the right things. More even if you had your Ivan Ooze Apocalypse, if they had the right people behind it, it still would that would have been forgivable. Like honestly, if they had the right writer, and they would have just had. First of all, they would have tightened it up, made it a little bit more fast paced, and they would have just executed it better. It would have been a better movie. Like I said, things like that I can forgive. Like I love. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier about Doctor Who. The reboot, the recent reboot back in 2003 or 4, whenever it was, and those early episodes with I guess he's like the 8th Doctor or whatever it was, 9th Doctor. The special effects in that show were like laughable. Even for the day, they were pretty laughable. But it's forgivable because it's such a great show. It's such a great story with great characters that you're like, I don't care if the little alien looks like a little 1989 CGI effect. It doesn't matter because it's so good. And it's the same thing with X-Men Apocalypse. You can have all the fancy special effects you want. If it doesn't have a good story, you have nothing. And it has nothing.
Yeah, it's like, look at The Flash. Look at the Flash TV show. And I hate to keep bringing that up, but it's such a good example. I mean, the effects on it are laughable at times. Like, it's so animated sometimes, but you can forgive it because of the story.
The Flash is obviously the Flash character himself is in CGI, and he looks like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't care. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. And you actually, while you were speaking, I thought of another point. you know what would have made this movie good? Because you're right, it did have all the elements to make a good movie. I think what ruined this movie was Mystique's storyline. That wasted so much time. Like, in all honesty, what I would have had was Apocalypse finding 4 mutants. One of them would not be Magneto. It's just Apocalypse finding 4 mutants. And I would have had him kidnapped Professor X right off the beginning. Right at the beginning.
And this actually happened
No.
in the
This,
comics was at one time Peg Wolverine. Sorry, it's Horseman, excuse me.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
Wolverine.
yeah.
That would have been really interesting.
yeah, it's death. I would have done something like that. No Mystique. Actually, like in the cartoon, Mystique actually helped Apocalypse. Like, I would have had him recruit Mystique, Wolverine, Psylocke, and Archangel.
Mystique's
Those
thing
would have been the
is,
4.
she's not really a villain. She's not really, she's not a hero. She's just a person that's out there, looking out for her own self-interest. She's not really looking to take over the world. She's just looking to survive.
Yeah.
She sees all these powerful people
Yeah,
around
and
her, and she
that
just wants to.
would've-
She wants
Yeah.
to back up the side. That's it. That's her motivation.
And that would have been perfect for her to go with Apocalypse. And what I would have had was Apocalypse encounter Magneto at the beginning, and have Apocalypse defeat Magneto, kill his family. And I would have had Apocalypse destroy the X-Mansion, kidnap Professor X because he wants that power. And I think right there we would have had Magneto lead this new team of X-Men and train them. Something like that. It would have been very similar to Age of Apocalypse.
You remember the X-Men arcade game? They should have just done that, but instead of the villain being Magneto, the villain is Apocalypse, and Magneto is reluctant, mentor, whatever. They just go,
Yeah.
we gotta go save
Yes.
Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
X-Men. And just go.
Yeah.
They side scroll
But not
to
this.
their to the adventure.
Yeah, like.
That would have been it. That would have been cool.
But that whole thing, it was just, I think Mystique's storyline just dragged the entire movie out. It just really dragged the movie out. And I think it would have been great to see Magneto lead the X-Men and also interact with Quicksilver. Quicksilver decides to join in the fight. And, Magneto's suffering from the loss of his wife and kid, and it's driving him insane. And he wants to beat Apocalypse. So he takes this ragtag team of young mutants, brings them together. And, the training isn't perfect, but he brings them together. And, he's bonding with Quicksilver, too. And he doesn't know it's his son. That would have been a great story
we
right
just
there.
made a better story in 30 seconds than they did developing it.
We just did. In 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, we made a better story. All right, Marco, I think that is it for today. I think we've discussed this shitty movie ad infinitum. There's no more nuggets of crap we can squeeze out of it. I think it's done.
Sorry.
No, you can't. I don't know about you. I'm actually excited for Ninja Turtles this weekend. So hopefully that is the next time we talk.
Yes,
if
this
you
weekend,
watch it
no,
or
I'm
not,
actually
whatever,
excited
it's
about
fine.
the sequel. 'Cause I like the first one had a lot of flaws, but overall it was a very entertaining movie. So I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, I like it too. All right. Well, that's it for this week, my little duckies. Until next time, peace, bitches.
Peace, bitches.